Hello, good morning. So, this is our second session for Civics, 7th Standard, Chapter 1 on Equality, Part 2. Okay? This is the session for Civics, Class 7, Chapter 1, Part 2, and the name of the chapter is On Equality. I hope you all remember what did we learn in equality in the first part. No? Fine. If you have forgotten something, we will take a quick revise on the first part and then we will move to part 2. So let's first note down the contents. Our part 1 contents were what is constitution, equal right to vote, other kinds of equality and recognizing dignity. We had seen this 4 subtopics in part 1. Okay? Now in part 2, we will see equality in Indian democracy, issues of equality in other democracies, Article 15 of the Indian Constitution and challenge of democracy. With that, we will also write some word meanings. Whatever hard words are going to come in this part 2 and a small exercise to remember what have we learnt in part 1 and part 2. Now in part 1 we had seen what is constitution. What is constitution? Constitution is a document in which the rules and regulations are being written about how do we or how are we going to govern the country. Okay? Equal right to vote. In equal right to vote, we had seen the adult franchising, universal adult franchising, in which we had seen the people having the right to vote, whether they are of any caste, class or religion or race. Right? But they should only be eligible of 18 age. Other equalities we had seen social equality, economic equality and right to education. That people have the economic equality. They should be treated as equal work, equal pay. Whether they are men or women, everybody should be paid equally. Social equality, what did we see in social equality? In social equality, we saw that the people should not be treated as per their class or caste. They should be given the equal rights as others have. They should also be given the equal rights to express their thoughts. Right? Now recognizing dignity, in that we had seen that never disrespect any person or any people as per their class or caste, because that hurts their dignity. And we have no right to hurt anybody's dignity. So never treat any people unequally, because treating them as per their class and caste makes them feel that they are of less equal than the other people. So treat each and every person equally, whether they are of any class, caste, race or religion. Okay? Now in part 2 we will see equality in Indian democracy, issues of equality in other democracies, and about Article 15 of the Indian Constitution and the challenge of democracy. So let's move to our first topic of part 2, that is equality in Indian democracy. Equality in the Indian democracy. The Indian Constitution recognizes every person as equal. Means in the Constitution it has been clearly written that every person of the country is equal. What does this mean? Every person as equal. This means that every individual in the country, including it can be anyone, male or female, from all castes, religion, tribes, educational or economic backgrounds. They can be anyone, and each and every person of the country should be treated equal. This is written in our Constitution. Okay. Now the recognition of equality includes the following provisions in the Constitution. What has been written in the Constitution? Very clearly to treat the people equally. Every person is equal before the law. Okay, whosoever it is, whether it is a minister, whether it is any rich person, any of them, the law is equal for everyone, whether it is a poor person, whether it is a rich person, or anyone. No person can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, race, caste, place of birth, and whether they are male or female. You cannot discriminate any person as per their race or caste or place of birth. Means where is he born? If he is not born in Rajasthan and he is not a Rajasthani, then you can't treat him or her unequally. Okay? And never treat any person as per male or female. Both of them as per the Constitution have the equal rights. Every person has access to all public places, wherever, all the public places, temples, parks, gardens, monuments, forts, anyway. Every person of the country can access. Access means go, use. Okay? And the most important thing, untouchability. We treat the people as per their caste, SC and ST, you can say like that. Untouchability. Never treat people as per their caste. Untouchability is been abolished now by the government. It has been stopped, you can say banned. Now if you treat any person with like their caste, or you treat them in the way of untouchability, you will be fined. You can be sent to jail immediately. Okay, so now let's take our first provision. Every person is equal before the law. What does this mean? This means that every person, from the president of the country to the domestic worker, or you can say the laborer, has to obey the same law. Same law which has been written in the Constitution. Okay? If you can say a punishment in the court. Okay? Now if the punishment in the court, if the court says that if a court says that a punishment for a crime, okay, is imprisonment, then that imprisonment is for everybody the same, whether it is a prime minister or whether it is a laborer of any class. Okay, Now in second, it says no person can be discriminated against the basis of their religion, caste, place or birth, whether it is a male or a female. Means no one can treat any person as per their race. Race means color. Black or white, fair or black. Okay? And every person has the access for the places, means any restaurants, any hotels, markets. It can be used by every person of the country. And all the publicly available, they are like wells, roads, bathrooms. Okay, this can also be used by each and every person of the country. So that's why it has been said every person has the access to all public places. Okay. Now the government has taken some steps to implement this equality. The government also takes care that the people in the country should be treated equally. And every now and then the government takes some or the other important steps. Now the two steps which were taken by the government to implement equality, which are they? The two ways in which the government has tried to implement the equality that is guaranteed in the constitution is first through laws. First is through laws, and second through government programs or schemes. Government programs or schemes. Now talking about the first one was through laws. Now there are several laws in India that protect every person's right to be treated equally. Okay? Now in addition to the laws, government has also set up several schemes to improve the lives of the communities and individuals. Means here it's trying to say that the government takes care, government protects each and every person's right. Government sees that whatever right is been written in the constitution is being followed. Means right to education, right to vote, okay, right to freedom. Every person has the same right. So the government sees that. It is the duty of the government to see that each and every right of the people is being protected. And with this, the government also takes steps. Take steps for what? To improve the lives of the communities and the individuals who have been treated unequally. From this, the one main step which is taken by the government is the midday meal scheme. Midday meal scheme. Okay? So, let's see what is this scheme about. What is midday meal scheme? This refers to the program introduced by the government in the elementary schools. Elementary schools means you can say in the government schools. Okay? Now midday meal. Meal. By the word meal we can understand that it is related with food. Okay? So here in this scheme the government introduced cooked lunch, you can say cooked lunch in elementary schools. Okay? Now Tamil Nadu was the first state in India to introduce this scheme in 2001. After that, the in 2001, the Supreme Court asked all the state government to begin this program in their school within 6 months. Means when government implemented this midday meal scheme, Tamil Nadu was the first state to start this scheme. Okay, and after that in 2001, Supreme Court asked all the government schools, state governments, to begin this program within 6 months. Now this program had a very positive effect. Now what kind of positive effects? The children now began enrolling and regularly attending the school. Before the midday meal scheme, okay, it was seen that the teachers reported that the children would often go home for lunch and they would not come back. They would give some or the other reason and not return to school. Now because of this midday meal scheme, the children now have started coming to school. Now the attendance in the school has started improving. Okay, priorly the mothers who earlier had to interrupt their work and prepare the lunch for the students, because of which the students either they got late to school or they did not used to come back after the lunch. But now this problem has also been solved. Now the students, because of the midday meal, they have started regularly coming to school. This was the first positive effect. Now after that, due to this program or due to this scheme, it also helped to reduce caste prejudices, because of which now all the students, children used to sit together to have their meal. Now second positive thing happened, that now there was no caste system in the school. Each and every person children used to sit together for eating food. Okay, and the third positive thing happened, the midday meal program also helped reduce the hunger of the poor people, poor students, who often came to school hungry. And because of that hunger, they were not able to concentrate. So the government, when government started this midday meal, because of this midday meal scheme, there were too many improvements. First improvement, the enrolling and regular attending of the children started. Secondly, the caste prejudice reduced. Now the students used to sit together, whether they were of the lower caste or the upper caste, they all used to sit together to have this midday meal. And the third thing, it reduced the hunger of the poor students. Now the poor students started getting meal, and now they were able to concentrate on their studies. So this is the scheme, this is the midday meal scheme which was started by the government. Means this says, by this midday meal scheme, I'm trying to explain you that this was the step taken by the government, okay, through government programs and scheme. The government was trying to implement equality among the people. Okay, now after doing so much spreading of equality over the country, still there are many issues of equality in our democracy, in other democracies. Means other countries also have their democracies. Now what kind of issues are there? Let's see. Now, issues of equality in other democracies. You all must be thinking, right, that India is the only democratic country in which there is inequality and where the struggle of equality continues to exist. Do you all think that in India, only in India, the inequality issue is going on? No. The truth is that in many democratic countries around the world, the issue of equality continues to be the key issue around which communities struggle. Means other than India, there are still many countries, in many democratic countries around the world. That is USA. Also, you can count. If we take an example, USA, United States of America, it is also a country, a democratic country which is facing inequality. The key issue, it is a key issue there around which the communities struggle. Now I'll give you an example here. In United States of America, the African Americans whose ancestors were slaves. Slaves means you can say like they were the servants but treated very badly. They were not being paid also, and they were had to work. So the African Americans whose ancestors were slaves who were brought from Africa continue to describe their lives today as largely unequal. Means their ancestors were working under the Americans, and till their sons, they all are still working as a slave under the Americans. They were treated extremely unequally because of the race, because of the color. Okay, the Africans were black and the United States, you can say like they were fair. So as per their race also they were treated unequally. So this problem of inequality is not only in India, it is throughout the world. Other democratic countries also face this issue. Okay, so now to stop this issue, what did the government do? The government started a Civil Rights Act in 1964. In 1964, a Civil Rights Act was launched, and what was it? It prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion or national origin. Means here also the same, this Civil Rights Act of 1964 says that no person should be treated on the basis of race, religion or national origin. National origin means whether he belongs to any of the nation. He should not be treated unequally because of his national origin. It also stated that all schools, because in America it was seen that the African students were not allowed to go to the schools in which the American children used to study. They had a different school there. So looking to all these issues, the government implemented the Civil Rights Act of 1964, in which it was stated that all schools will be open to African American children and that they would no longer have to attend separate schools specially set up for them. In America, the different schools were set up for African people, African students. Now this was an unequal act. Okay? They were treated unequally. The facilities which were given to the Americans, the Africans did not have the same facility. So when this inequality was seen in the country, seen in USA, what did the government do? The government started the Civil Rights Act in 1964, in which it was clearly stated that the African American children, they would no longer have to attend separate schools which were specially set up for them. Okay? Now talking about the Article 15. Okay? Article 15 in the Constitution in 1949. Article in the Constitution of India 1949, 15 prohibition of discrimination of grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. Okay, the state shall not discriminate against any citizen or ground, only religion, race, birth, people, sex, place of birth or any of them. Now here I have shown you a picture which is showing you the Article 15 Constitution of India in 1950. Okay. Now this Article 15 says that the state should not discriminate any citizen on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place or birth. Okay. It also elaborates that no Indian citizen can be discriminated against the basis of these all things. It states that no citizen shall be denied to access any shop, public restaurants, hotels, palaces of public entertainment. Everybody has the right to access any of the public property, government property. It also adds that no citizen shall be the subject of any disability, liability, restrictions or conditions with the use of any water resources, whether it is wells, tanks, bathing ghats, walking on the roads, places of public resorts. Okay, now which are being out of state funds. So any public places can be accessed by the people. The article also states that the article cannot be used as an argument. Means you cannot use this article for an argument with someone. If you are using any public place and there is an argument about it or something fight about it, you can't say, oh, that is written in Article 15. You can't use this. Okay, article cannot be used as an argument to make special provisions for women, children or any other background classes. It has been written in the article that nobody should be discriminated against on the basis of race, caste, sex, place or birth or anything. So it does not mean that you are going to use this article as an argument for the special provinces. Okay. Now in this one amendment has been made. Amendment means a new thing has been added or something is being changed. An amendment was made in this article in 2018 after the government announced that 10% of reservations in colleges and universities for economically weaker sections. In 2018, government announced that 10% reservation will be there in the schools and in the colleges and universities for the students of the weaker section. Weaker section means the children who want to study but because they are poor or don't have enough money to pay for the fees. For such student, 10% reservation was been announced in the colleges and universities. Now this states in Article 15 Number 5, it states, nothing in this article or in subclause of clause 19 shall prevent the state from making any special provision by law. Okay, means now 10% reservations in colleges and universities will be there for the students who are economically weaker section. Okay, so this was article 15. Now let's see the challenges to the democracy. What kind of challenges are is the democracy facing? Okay, now the challenges to the democracy are like you can say corruption or insufficiency and inefficiency, role of antisocial elements, growing economic and social inequalities among the people, casteism and communalism. These are some kind of challenges that is there for the democracy. Though there are many rights, many rules and regulations in the constitution, written in the constitution, then too there are too many challenges for the democracy. Now first we had talked about the corruption and inefficiency. In many democratic countries, the political leaders, officers, they tend to be corrupt, dishonest or inefficient. Why? Because they ask for bribe. Okay? They say that pay us this much and then we will do your work. This is called bribe, asking for money. This results to the lack of trust of the citizen, and because of this, when some of the official leaders or officers they take the bribe, due to this the citizen, the people of the country, they have stopped trusting on the political leaders and officers. Now this affects the working of democracy in the country very badly, and because of this affects first of all it affects the working of the democracy. Means the people are not believing now, they are not trusting only on the government. So how would the government work? So this is the first challenge for the government to gain the trust or the belief of the citizens. Second is the role of the antisocial elements. The role of the antisocial elements arises during the elections. What has been done? The people are being forced to give the vote. You know that voting is your own right. To whomsoever you wish, you can vote. Whether it is in your house also. You are not supposed to listen to anyone while voting. If your parents are voting to some other party, you have your own right to vote to the party you are willing to vote. You wish to do. Okay? But the antisocial elements during the elections, what do? They force the people, or they bribe. Bribe means they give the money to the people that okay, you vote to this party, will give you so much of money. Ragging also takes place during these elections. So this is also one challenge for the government to the democracy. Now other two challenges: growing economic and social inequalities among people, and casteism and communalism. Now there is a lot of socio-economic inequalities among the people. We know all are not of the same. Some are rich, some are poor, some earn more money, some earn less. So all are of not the same. Although all citizens have the right to vote and fight election, only rich people have the chance to win the election. Now this is the social inequality, because the rich people, they spend a lot of money for winning, they gain votes by giving the money, and this how they win the election. So this is also one kind of a challenge for the government. Now government is trying to solve all the challenges, because the government wants the trust of the people to be stable. The government wants the people to believe that the government is working for the people. Now next is casteism and communalism. During elections, a large number of voters give weight to the caste and religion of the candidate. While voting, you must have seen, many people say, oh, I will give vote to this candidate because he is of my caste, because he belongs to my religion. Okay? But never take any candidate as per their religion or caste. You must elect the candidate by their ability. Will he be able to do the work of the post which he is going to be elected? Is he capable of that post? Then only elect the candidate. Then only give the vote. Political parties also keep in mind the caste or religion of a person while distributing tickets for the elections. Representatives elected on the basis of caste or religion work for the welfare of the people belonging only to their caste or religion. Now, if you elect a candidate, if you vote a candidate as per their caste or religion, what would happen? That candidate, or you can say that representative whom you have elected, will only work for the people of his caste or religion. He would not take care of the whole society. He will not work for all of the people. So never elect any representative or never elect any person, any candidate on the weight of his caste or religion. So government has also to face this casteism and communalism challenge, that no injustice is done towards the people, because whosoever is elected, any candidate, he should work for everyone. Okay? Now, during this chapter, we have gone through many of the words which are new for us. So let's have some word meanings. Now for our today's first word. Now for the word meanings, our today's first word is orientation. Okay? What is orientation? The action of orienting someone or something relative to the points of a compass or other specified positions. Okay? Orientation. The action of orienting something or someone relative to the points of the compass or other specified positions. Dignity, the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. Means each person should be respected. Okay? But not on the base of quality or caste. Violated. VIOLATED. Break or fail of comply with a rule or formal agreement. Communalism. A principle of political organization based on federated communes. The spelling of communalism: COMMUNALISM. Communalism, a principle of political organization based on federated communes. And our today's last word is socio-economic. SOCIOECONOMIC. Socio-economic means relating to or concerned with the interaction of social or economic factors. So these are our today's words meanings: orientation, dignity, violated, communalism and socio-economic. Now moving to next is the exercise. Please note down the question answers. Now moving to the exercise, our first question is, what is equality? So what is equality? Equality is a key feature of democracy and influences all aspects of its functioning. Okay, or you can say equality is about ensuring that every individual has an equal opportunity to make the most of their lives and talents. Okay, our next question is, what is constitution? What is constitution? Constitution is a document which contains details of how to govern our country. Constitution is a document which contains details of how to govern our country. Next, write the 6 fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. 6 fundamental rights. Which are they? Right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, and cultural and educational right. And the 6th one is right to constitutional remedies. Which are these? These are the 6 constitution fundamental rights in the constitution are: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and the last is right to constitutional remedies. These are the 6 fundamental rights. Now what is next question? The next question is, what is universal adult franchisee? What is our next question? Our next question is, what is universal adult franchisee? Okay. So what is universal adult franchisee? It is that all adults, irrespective of what religion they belong to, how much education they have, what caste they are or whether they are rich or poor are allowed to vote. Okay, they are allowed to vote on any of the basis. On the basis of, they should not be treated on the basis of religion, caste, education, sex, class, race, anything. Okay, and when they are allowed to vote, this is called universal adult franchisee. Okay, next, what does equality in Indian democracy mean? What does equality in Indian democracy mean? Economic equality in Indian democracy means equal work, equal pay. Economic equality in Indian democracy or Indian constitution, whatever you count, means equal work, equal pay. Okay, so what does economic equality in Indian democracy means? It means equal work, equal pay. The next question, what is midday meal scheme? What is midday meal scheme? Midday meal scheme is a school meal program, okay, of the government of India, designed to better the nutrition standing on of school age children. Okay, midday meal was started by the government, okay, for the better nutritional. For whom? For the school age children nationwide. Midday meal scheme is a school meal program of the government of India, designed for the better nutritional standing of school age student nationwide. Okay, now write the 2 steps taken by government to implement equality. Which were the 2 steps taken by the government? Tell me. These 2 steps were, first through law. The first step was through law, and the second step was through the government programs and schemes. Understood? Which were the 2 steps which were taken by the government for implementing the equality? It was, first was through law and second was through government programs and schemes. I hope you have written all the questions and understood all the answers which I have told you. Okay, so after noting this, now what are you to do? You have to learn all the question answers. We have completed 1 chapter in geography and 1 in civics. Please learn everything, learn all the word meanings. Okay, study well and take care of your health. Meet you in the next session. Till then, bye.